Hi, my name is Kinsey Boston, and this is my presentation on the SS. The letters SS stand for Schutzstaffel in German, which means protective echelon. An echelon is a level or rank in an organization, profession, or society, in this case being Hitler's regime. Hitler came into power in 1921, and the SS was formed in 1925, with Heinrich Himmler being the head of this organization. When Hitler first came into power in 1921, he created his own private army called the Sturmabteilung, or Assault Division as it is known in English. They would go with Hitler to his speeches. The SS was created as a separate but very similar group. And this is a photo of the SS from the Holocaust Encyclopedia. The SS started as a group of 8 trusted individuals who were charged with the task of protecting Hitler and other important Nazis. They were banned from political debates and had to profess their complete and utter devotion to Hitler and their unquestioning faith that he was their only prophet. Over time, it developed into the elite guard of the Nazi Reich, according to the Holocaust Encyclopedia. This now larger group of people became Hitler's executive security force that would carry out the removal of Hitler's proclaimed enemies. The SS was above the law and therefore able to do whatever they wanted to their targets. And this is a photo of Hitler from American Experience. Heinrich Himmler was appointed as Reich leader of the SS on January 20th, 1929 by Hitler himself. Himmler tasked himself with turning the SS into a group of elite, racially pure, and undyingly loyal guards. The selection process for the SS was a very tedious one. Participants were to be between 17 and 45 years old. They had to be physically fit in order to carry out their daily tasks. They also had to prove that they were not Jewish, nor did they have any Jewish ancestors. There was also a height requirement which varied depending on what unit of the SS the individual was going into. For the standard SS unit, the height requirement was a minimum of 5 feet 7 inches. They also had to confess their complete loyalty to Hitler and the Nazi Party. And this is a photo of 2 SS soldiers from the New Yorker. In the 1930s, there were 2 major subdivisions of the SS. One of them was the SSVT. This group was a military group that was quartered in barracks. They had to agree to 4 years of service to the SS. They operated as smaller units within themselves in order to carry out invasions. The other subdivision is known as the Death's Head Unit. They were tasked with supervising the concentration camps. Their name comes from the skull insignia that was part of their uniform that stands for their undying loyalty to Hitler, although it is mistakenly interpreted as representing the murderous acts that this group committed. And this photo in the middle is a picture of the SSVT, and the photo on the right is the skull insignia from the Death's Head Unit uniforms. In 1945, the Germans realized that they were on the brink of losing World War II. As a final line of defense, Himmler created one last division, known as the Volksterm, or People's Storm Troop. This group consisted of those who could not serve in the SS mainly due to age. It was full of teenage boys, children, and elderly men who served in the final defense against the Allies. The Ally powers captured Himmler at the very end of the war. Himmler committed suicide by a cyanide tablet on May 23, 1945. And this is a picture of some of the child and teenage soldiers that stood in the last line of defense. After the war, the SS was considered a criminal organization. From 1945 to 1949, the Nuremberg military tribunals were tasked with bringing justice against those involved in the war crimes of the SS. Hitler and Himmler were never put on trial as they both committed suicide before the trials. A judge and prosecution team were sent in from each of the Allied countries. There were 24 German defendants put on trial, with only 21 of them making it to the trial. Their charges included crimes against peace, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. Of the 21, 3 were acquitted, 12 were sentenced to death by hanging, and the rest received varying prison sentences, including life in prison and 10 to 20 years in prison. There were more trials after this one that put more Germans on the stand for their crimes, and for the most part, justice was brought to the Nazi regime. And these are my citations. Thank you so much for watching.